Whether you're conducting personal business or running a multi-million-dollar corporation, one factor remains constant: change. Often science or technology inspires the change and dictates the direction we take. Advances can also come from new ideas on management or networking. However change happens, keeping up with it is crucial in today's business world.
A decade has passed since the devastating floods of 1998 and 2002 hit Bexar County, Texas. These historic events were a reminder of the inherent dangers of living in Flash Flood Alley in Central Texas. But the floods were also a catalyst for change in San Antonio and 20 surrounding suburban cities. They led to the development of the Bexar County Flood Control Program, which is making history of another sort with a $500 million capital investment program. This initiative funds construction projects that will divert water and improve the low water crossings that prove so treacherous during flash floods.
Well, this is the first time in Bexar County's history that we've come together on a regional plan funded by Bexar County, some $500 million, that will address detention ponds, reinforcing dams, clearing out waterways, ecological restoration, a regional plan that will help us tremendously when we have the flash floods that are so prevalent in our area. What we've done, we've brought together small cities that didn't have any capacity to pay for flood control. Along with the city of San Antonio, developed a regional plan, but you have to have funding for it. And so Bexar County stepped up and provided the funding. It addresses a lot of inner city needs where most of the flooding is occurring. So it's a major step forward for our community.
The Flood Control Capital Improvement Program, the largest such investment in Bexar County history, will reduce the threat to life and property presented by flash flooding. This threat is ever present for the citizens of Bexar County, which has 5 watersheds in the San Antonio River Basin. The unexpected and fast-moving nature of flash floods makes them particularly dangerous, giving residents little chance to escape. To limit the devastation these floods can cause, Bexar County has coupled its investment in capital projects that will control water flow with public awareness efforts and coordination between local government agencies.
Well, the Bexar County Flood Control Program is working to provide citizens an ability to feel at peace with themselves when a huge flood event occurs. That did not happen in 1998 nor in 2002. Everybody lives downstream from somebody. And living downstream means you are potentially imperiled. And you would just hope that there's enough planning and enough investment to deal with the runoff that's created by growth so that you don't become the victim of your community's growth. So I think that's something that is absolutely fundamental and mandatory for this county to take care of, and that's the ever-increasing runoff and all those downstream residents that have to deal with that runoff.
Bexar County Flood Control Program has required local governments to look beyond political boundaries and address the flooding issue from a regional perspective. Water, after all, knows no jurisdiction. Working with the Bexar Regional Watershed Management Partnership, government leaders have identified projects in 4 commissioners' precincts that will minimize flash flooding dangers. Dozens of flood control projects are now in various stages of bidding, design, and construction. In the Medina River watershed, one such project is replacing the low water crossings on Shepherd Road at Elm Creek and Black Hill Branch.
Well, you know, the county took a huge responsibility because of safety for our kids and our community and more people moving out into the rural areas. We studied the plans, we went out to FEMA, we've asked for new maps, and the new maps were showing us different areas that needed to be looked at very seriously. The issue also was on Shepherd Road. There was 2 bridges. There was actually 2 problems, and it was hard to be able to fix one and not the other. So with this flood control project that the county took upon themselves to look at was very instrumental because we were actually able to do both bridges and not one of them. So we were able to help that community especially in that rural area as more and more people are moving out into Bexar County. Right now in Bexar County, we're probably at 1.7 million people. So we're trying to find all the low water crossings, not only in the inner city, but out in the county.
Another area selected for improvement is the low water crossing on Ingram Road in the Leon Creek watershed. A 1,700-foot-long bridge is being built to cross both Leon Creek and Huebner Creek, providing unflooded access along Ingram Road during a major storm.
The floods come out of nowhere, unexpected. People will be down the road, there's no problem, and then a minute later the car is being swept away because the flash floods are very dangerous. We live in what is called Flood Alley, Texas. From the hill country and those areas north of us in Texas, all the water comes flowing down. So whenever there is down to central Texas, and whenever there's a heavy rain, it's very dangerous for the public. You know, Ingram Road was one of the areas identified by a long process of being a very dangerous water crossing. There's a big amount of population out there, and it's a heavily traveled road, and cars just it was a constant. Whenever there was heavy rain, people would not be familiar with it. They'd be driving across that road, and their cars would get swept away. It was very dangerous for the first responders, who risked their lives to rescue people out of their cars, and they had a very short amount of time. So that's one of the primary areas that we've used these flood control funds to address.
Bexar County's regional approach to flood control will do the important job of protecting lives and property. But the program also recognizes the need to respect the environment in areas affected by flood control projects. Bexar County is committed to funding projects that will protect the natural state of the waterway and the surrounding environment.
We're going about flood control in a much different way today than it has been in the past. So many times when flood control was addressed, they poured a lot of cement along creek beds, made dastardly, ugly-looking ways of draining off water. What we're doing today, we're doing it in an ecological, sensitive way, using our natural environment. The biggest one that we're doing is along the San Antonio River, going south for some 8 miles. It's flood control as well as trails, as well as places to have picnics, 20,000 trees being planted, absolutely beautiful restoration project going south that will pay dividends to generations in the future.
For more information about the Bexar County, Texas Flood Control Program, visit the organization's website at www.bexarfloodcontrol.org.